Oh, goodness.
I know.
Yeah, we all put things in our head, and I don't know that that's a very good idea.
So many themes.
Mine's actually fine. My problem is that I'm having my ongoing eyeball issue has been particularly bad this
What
week.
happened?
So, I have a recurring. Everybody ready for the TMI of the After Dark?
Please.
I have a recurring STI that expresses when I am under extreme stress or emotional distress, and so yesterday it started doing
Did
its
its
thing
thing.
again.
I'm sorry.
So,
Yikes.
it's fine. I just live with it. I could probably get it looked at, but I don't want people poking at my eyeball, so I just leave it there.
I don't blame you for that.
Yeah.
I had those a lot as a kid.
Yeah. It's
Stress induced. So.
yeah. I had a lot of fun stress-induced symptoms, but
Stressed babies.
you know what?
Yeah.
Surprisingly less stressful than I thought it was going to be was that goddamn dragon fight.
That is extremely true.
I mean, I was still scared, but do we want to just jump right into this?
Yeah.
So before the stream started, I was having a conundrum because I was sitting here going, I was looking at the Dragon Wormling stat block.
So, yeah, this boss fight was supposed to be a dragon wormling. And for anyone who's been watching our whole arc, the context, the green dragon that dropped me to 0, the little baby that we fought, was also a dragon wormling. So, different color, different powers, but same stat equivalency. So then,
Well, I think they are like different. A red dragon wormling is more dangerous than the green.
they do scale a little bit.
So I don't know if blue's
Blue's a little more powerful than green.
looking.
a different CR.
Yeah,
it's not
so
gonna be as bad, though.
the green dragon wormling that y'all fought was a challenge rating 2.
The blue's a challenge 3.
Yeah, it's a challenge 3. And the green dragon wormling has the same AC, but 38 hit points as opposed to what was supposed to be 52 hit points. I do say was supposed to be. Because I was looking at the stat block and going, this is just not climactic enough for you guys. Because if you had if you had freed Adron, for example, he wasn't supposed to be chained down there. I just added that in because it was funnier.
Sure.
To be perfectly honest. But it was just supposed to be he was trapped in this fallen down area and was not able to get out until he was hauled out for the ritual type of thing. It was going to be minimum 4-on-1, possibly 5-on-1, depending on whether or not you freed Adron before the fight. And I was just sitting here staring at it going, this is going to be a really short fight. And this is going to be really boring, to be perfectly honest.
That's what you were talking, because you were saying this a few weeks ago, or maybe even last week, according to this, where you were like, I have an issue with this particular model. Is that what you were saying? 'Cause you were saying it's anticlimactic.
That was one of the things that I was thinking about, where it was like, it's 52 hit points.
Yeah.
You guys could do that in like 3 rounds if you
Yeah.
really
Marlo
dumped
did
your
it
stuff
almost
in.
all in one round.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Inflict wounds is fucking broken,
Yeah.
and that's given to a cleric at first level.
That's insane.
Okay, I just looked it up on D&D Beyond, and it's so cute.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So cute.
It's
They're adorable.
Oh no.
But so that was the right ruling. So then, let's fully lift the veil. So then, right before we were getting ready to start, I say right before, as we were running around dealing tech stuff, Tiana turned to me and said, "I have a GM question for you," and I went, "Okay."
Because I know that Alondra can separate player brain and GM brain, and I really needed advice.
And so, do you want to? I'll let you explain what you showed me.
So I basically showed her that I was looking at replacing the blue dragon wormling with a young blue dragon, which would have had 150 hit points. It's a CR 9.
Woof.
And had 3 attacks.
Yeah.
So it had claw, bite.
Yeah, it's got a multi-attack and then the breath weapon that can potentially recharge.
Yeah, on a 5 or a 6. And I was looking at it and going, that just does not feel climactic enough to have the blue dragon wormling as the final fight, because I know that you guys felt threatened by the green dragon wormling. It really, the only thing that made it as dangerous as it was the fact that it did recharge its breath weapon.
Yeah.
Which is such a low probability, really. I've only done that a couple of times when I've run things. So I was sitting here staring at it and going, do I replace the blue dragon wormling with the young blue dragon and possibly almost TPK you. Like, I was like, this is too far of a jump between the CR levels. It's just too much. So Alondra and I were talking about it, and she actually had a couple of good suggestions, one of which I did implement.
I noticed. Yeah.
If you want to talk about what you suggested.
So the couple things I suggested were to use the blue dragon wormling, but give them more hit points and give them an extra attack. Let them do a bite and a claw, something like that. You know, like kind of middle ground it, right? And beef up their hit points a little bit more. The other suggestion I had was to give us the young blue dragon with the multi-attack and the higher hit points, but only let their breath weapon recharge in a 6, because that's the thing that gets really dicey when you scale up your dragons, because the breath weapon also scales up the damage.
Yeah.
But the other thing, the reminder, and this is a thing that Ezra says a lot of times, and we've heard on other D&D things, is the monster has as many hit points as is narratively interesting. It doesn't actually really matter, like, use that as a guideline when you're running your games, but really, like, let the monster die when it's been satisfying. Because to be perfectly fair, like, in the right conditions, like, Marlowe and Madame Celery could have taken down, like, because we were going to get rounds on the Sleeping Dragon, there is a certain set of conditions under which we could have taken that down so low on a surprise round that we might have been able to kill it, like, if it was the Wormling, before the other two of you even got there.
If it was sleeping, and so it's, it's sleeping, I hit it, I smite it,
yeah,
that's a huge damage.
I drop a moonbeam on it,
yeah.
or that inflict wounds from the get-go. Like,
So, it could have been really deadly.
It could have been very short, and it could have been very anticlimactic. So I did very much play the dragon has as many hit points as is narratively interesting, but I decided to tell you when it shifted.
Yeah. Which I thought was actually a really cool storytelling aspect of it. The other thing that I felt a little bad about, especially because this conversation had happened, and again, I try to separate player knowledge. I was like, oh, like, the fact that we all just sort of collectively, because I don't think it was just me leading
No, it was not.
The fact that we kind of collectively were like, oh, we need to debilitate its ability to fly, we need to debilitate its ability to open its mouth.
Yeah.
And I was like, this feels a little bit metagame, but I was also like, no, it's not, because...
You have fought dragons at this point.
Yeah.
You know about the breath weapon. You don't want it to be able to open its mouth. You know you don't want it to be able to fly because you can see the fucking wings.
And it wasn't
The
metagame
harpies,
because
those
it was...
harpies were annoying.
Because it was in-game.
Yeah, we talked to Elder Renard.
And then
We did,
Well,
yeah.
it was in-game up there until Undar's like, whatever.
And like I was with where Marlowe was going specifically, I fully expected you to turn the statues free Adron and then dogpile onto Sparkrender. Like, from what you were leading people into, that was what I expected. And then it's over here like, no, hog tie it.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the thing that switched me up. And it was like, I don't know if that was exactly what you intended, but that's... look, we're all dirty. You all know this. We're 12-year-old boys.
No, 12-year-old boys are not as sophisticated dirty as we are.
This is artisanal.
Sparkling dirty.
Yeah.
No, but like when you started saying that, like, because Marlowe immediately was just like, you want me to tie it up? Because, like, that's what she would have thought was being suggested. And then that just led to the, like, domino effect of, like, okay, I guess we're just going to try to disable this so that we can just, like, go to town on it. But
when Undar jumps up, it's like, and he like jumps on. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing it.
And my original plan for that, super air quotes plan was basically that it was so close to the ritual. And he had already done so many preparations for the ritual that he was already starting to feed off of the power in the island, which is what the red that was keeping him alive because it is the power of an ancient red dragon that's being channeled in. Not enough to, like, explode him on a wall, but enough to make him have multi-attack. So he had the claw and give him the ability to keep going for 33 hit points beyond where he was supposed to.
Wait, in the module, and I don't know if this is like spoilers.
Oh no, we're done with this now.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter.
In the original module, is the dragon asleep? Could you have just made the dragon awake or return to the lair? I'm just curious. I don't know anything about
in the module, the dragon is asleep. And I could have had it where he was awake, but there were like 4 different ways that you could have gone there. So I went ahead and just had him be asleep, where it was you could just attack him while he's asleep, or you can follow the riddle and then do the thing and get Adron in, or... Question mark. I didn't know what you guys were going to do.
That's really fun. That's fun.
I would love to see a playthrough of this where people decide to try to move the statues with the sleeping dragon there.
That's-
Because that
that's
never
right.
crossed my
Yeah,
mind. That
me
never
too.
crossed my mind.
And that's why
I could see that that's what needed to be done, but I was like, there's no way we can do that without waking
Without waking
him up.
And that's
Yeah.
that we got, and I'm glad
Yeah.
we're on the same page as that, because I was like, we can't obviously
I mean,
do this wall.
There are ways to do it, and it's actually written in here where
Maybe with the pre-built characters though, maybe
Well-
they have stealth or they have like
Yeah.
what
I
you were
rolled
saying,
a
silence.
21
is
on
like,
stealth.
Yeah.
Like,
right,
I was like,
and it was meant to be a
Did you disadvantage?
DC 14 stealth
I wasn't
check
wearing my
to
armor 'cause I
turn it
swam.
while partially
that is it, yeah.
partially
Yeah.
because
Okay,
those
good.
are made to turn. Like that is the entrance into that library. They're made to turn, so they're
yeah.
not like dragging a thing that doesn't want to go. Now this thing is on a track.
Yeah, I think the
Sure.
scratch marks, like in my mind, I'm just like,
Yeah.
if I see scratch marks on the floor, I'm gonna
Sure.
assume it's heavy, you know. And then when you see these things,
They're 10 feet tall.
and Madame Celery's a rail thin,
Or as
stick
opposed to like there's
figure.
grooves.
Exactly.
Sure,
Right.
and I probably
Scratches.
could have described that better.
No, that's not on you. I loved the way that it played out.
The way that
So
it
it's
played
just-
out
it's fine.
was
Yeah.
So
Well,
bonkers.
it was
Was
so much
there-
funnier to find out it was easy.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
then he's like, it's fine.
Well, they turned towards the light. Was there in the arcane signal? Was there something there that was light?
Oh, good point.
There, in the center of it all, is a constellation that is called the Light of the Dragon.
Which Marlo identified but didn't really get a chance to like share that with anyone before we decided to kick the dragon's ass. Which fair.
sure,
Like,
sure.
Not mad about that.
Yeah, the whole thing
So
with
funny.
the red and the blue energy and what Marlo did with it was entirely my invention, and I was scrambling, laying the rails in front of that as we were going.
It was fun. It was so fun.
I mean, I knew the amulet was like, I'm sure there's nothing in there that's like, and then the cleric has to harness the energy, although that is one of the pre-gen characters is a cleric.
It's a cleric. Yeah.
Oh.
But like, I was like, no, I feel like this is your flavoring of what to do, but I was curious if the ball of energy, like if we kill the dragon, does the ball of energy just like come to rest in the center? Because when that first showed up in my hand, when I yelled hit the deck, what my plan was is that I was gonna run and I was gonna
Yep.
like slam it into the center to see if that activated the like runes or something
Okay.
in some way. But then I was like, I might not get time to do that. I just want to make sure that if this thing is going to explode in the energy of a red dragon, that I take the brunt of it.
Now that was fully my invention, and it only happened because you did inflict wounds. And I think of inflict wounds as very specifically like drawing life energy out. Like when I cast inflict wounds on people, it's like desiccating their faces type of thing.
Sure.
So I was picturing it as you literally pulling what was keeping him alive out of him, and that was when you met eyes and he dropped.
Right. Yeah, this is now the second dragon that I have gotten the kill shot on this channel with inflict wounds, which is
2 new tattoos on
Depressing.
Marlo's
Yeah,
back.
I got, like,
2
yeah.
dragons with X's over them.
no. The other one was Elspeth. She took down the Charlatan dragon with the.
Oh,
inflict wounds.
that's
that was the kill
right.
blow. No. This is a laundress tattoo.
There we go.
Cleric notches. Other notes that we had about things, now that we can talk about a bunch of things, were that we all came in as level 1 characters, but we were advanced players, and there was also a note from last week about talking about how the Blue Dragon ritual relates possibly to Call of Cthulhu style storytelling. I don't know if you want to touch on any or all of those, but I figured I'd bring them up because we put the notes in.
So what I meant by
So cute.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's
It's
so cute. Ingrained in the brain. Love it.
whatever. This ritual reminds me a lot of Call of Cthulhu stuff, specifically because it is an ancient power that is so far beyond the powers of the person that's trying to tap into it that realistically it should tear Sparkrender to pieces, trying to harness that energy and become, especially as a wormling, and become like a draconic avatar. That was just what I thought of, is that it reminded me a lot of, like, you know, rituals for Nyarlathotep or the King in Yellow or that sort of thing, where it's like you are meddling with powers that are so far beyond what you can understand.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked that aspect of it because it was like, you're not going to solve all of the problems in this game. You're not. Like, there are thousands of years of history of dragons dying here that play into all of it. You're just one small piece of this overall story. You've helped solve a lot of problems, and you are heroes. But at the end of it all, you haven't really changed anything. Like, the power of this massive red dragon is still under the island. And if someone knows about it, they can do the ritual when the stars are right, blah, blah, blah. So in that sense, it reminded me a lot of Call of Cthulhu, where it's like, you didn't fix anything. You just kind of delayed it.
We solved the present issue for this time.
Yeah. But there will always be another time and another time and another time, because people will always come seeking power.
Basically, this is Fantasy Island. It's like
Sure.
every day, we got another boat of adventurers.
Set
up
up
the
the
blue
old,
dragon.
set up the old blue dragon. Yeah.
Kind of.
But that was what it made me think of, was that sense of... One of the things that I love about playing in Faerun and Tyrell in general is the sense of lore that you can use or not as you see fit. I personally love dipping into the lore and being like, here's the history. Where do you go from there? Mm-hmm. I love that kind of thing, but...
So I had one note about power on monsters, because I scale up every single monster.
I mean, you have to,
Because we have
bits, with the cards.
Bits and cards and everything else. So I mean, honestly, a young blue dragon... I mean, I maybe not would have allowed it to do 10d10 damage on its lightning breath.
It is a lot.
Because that could hit...
This is why
Three
I
of
go
us?
for the schnoz.
Yeah.
And if everyone's standing in a line
that go
at level
Yeah.
3,
Not
that's the potential to
specifically,
kill it. Like, that could
Yeah.
Breath
potentially
weapons
kill
are
it.
usually
But, I mean...
Well,
but,
and that could have
Layers.
TPK'd you all.
yeah.
Yeah,
Very
easily.
Everything but that, 2d10 on a bite, maybe that is a bit much.
So let me ask
But-
you then, did you feel that it was a satisfying fight, the way that it was?
Oh, I did, because I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I don't think that it was tough.
No, it certainly was not tough, but that touches back on the other point that I put in the group chat as a note, where sure, y'all came in as level 1 adventurers, but you all came in with your characters having had life experience that we could pull on for this, and also y'all are very good players. Even you, Matt.
You knew I was
I
gonna
knew
go
you
there.
were. You are all very good players who handle things with, you are in character, you think tactically, you handle the situation that is in front of you in the way that makes the most sense for your character at that time. And that's honestly really hard to plan around, because I'm used to people doing the bullshitty thing and just being like...
Go stabby.
Yeah, not necessarily always, no offense to my other players, obviously. It's just a different way of thinking about things, where you guys, I did not expect you to try to tie up the dragon. And even more, I did not expect that it would work. And it did. Mm-hmm. You all rolled very well. You rolled fantastically.
Except for my
And
2 nat 1s, but everybody else made up for that.
But that's the flavor of it coming through. Like, we can have a great idea that has no way to be expected, and then we can still whiff it.
Yeah.
sure.
Well, and one of the things, I said this earlier at the break to everybody, of like, this has been one of the most fun campaigns I have ever played in. And I think part of it is because it has been a campaign in which we were really allowed to try to solve problems in unexpected ways. Because like, even this fight, like, that is a wild approach to a dragon fight.
Yeah.
That is fully bananas. But it was like, simultaneously, we were able to plan in a way that felt in character, where we were, it wasn't just us with player knowledge, it was our characters being like, well, here's the things we know we need to do. We still had the sort of like, you know what, I'm not waiting anymore, the hippo's just going to tackle him, but he's a hippo. And we've seen this, but like, we know this is actually technically a tactic that works,
Right.
Because we used it a couple episodes ago, and so everything still felt like it was, it was character driven,
Authentic. Everything about it. Yeah.
And it made sense for the world in the moment.
Yeah. And even though I didn't get to do much, it never felt cheese dicky to me. Where it was like, you guys, I mean, much like with the Harpy fight, you guys came up with a smart solution, having used the knowledge that you gained from the previous dragon fight that almost killed you. I can only just sit back and applaud that, because it was so good.
Yeah, so and me as a player, I don't know if I knew it was specifically a wormling.
Yeah.
I knew it was a medium-sized blue dragon. I fully imagined that if that dragon got loose, it would wreck us. So that's why it was like...
It would have, to be perfectly honest, if you guys had not devoted the effort to grappling it, if you hadn't made some very good sleight of hand checks to get it tied up, if you hadn't fucking driven a railroad spike through its snout.
Yeah, the fact that it never even got a chance to try its breath weapon was, I think, one of the biggest things that, like, I'll say nerfed that fight.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that you had pulled it back. It was
have
that
to.
we made smart tactical decisions and got really lucky on a bunch of rolls in the sequence that we made them to be able to do it.
And that's the sort of thing that I love to see as a GM. Like, that is the sort of thing where it's like, I applaud the fact that you had an easy fight, but you had an easy fight, not because I did anything. In fact, I gave it more than the stat block gave it. You guys did that yourselves.
The fact that we also talked down all of the kobolds, so we never had to fight any of them. We made friends with the winged ones, as you said, and then we intimidated the other four, so we didn't have to fight through waves of enemies. We just really had the one.
Yeah. And that was part of why I was like, Alondra, I don't know if this is going to be challenging enough. But then you guys made it just awesome.
You almost TPK'd us with our panic about the glowing amulet.
I know. That was the biggest thing.
Eat ourselves into the water.
That was so
We're
funny.
gonna die of falling damage because it'll be faster.
I was sitting over here like, cool, this globe of light is in her hand now, and there's a sigil. What do I do with that?
Yeah.
I was glad to have the break at that point to think about it.
Yeah.
Funny. If I were DMing this fight for Chaos Agent specifically because of the players,
Yeah.
I would have turned his breath weapon into a cone with
Yeah.
with the metal rod. I've been like, oh no, now it's a cone. Now everybody gets hit.
That's actually really clever.
That's cool.
That's just because I.
Because I
I'm
gotta
a
smack
troll
someone.
for my-
Well, but also, but I like the idea of the actions has consequences thing. So, that's why, I loved the fact that, you let me do the insane thing of using my crowbar to try to, jam its mouth shut. I still had to take damage from that.
Yeah.
It's, and I love that sort of thing, where it's there is no, perfect win scenario.
Well, and
There's just better conditions
yeah,
than others.
Right.
and very specifically, it worked for you because you have a warhammer.
Yeah.
Literally, no other character on this channel would have been able to pull that off
Yeah.
because we all use swords.
And the crowbar.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So having literally the builder's tools of the crowbar and a big fuck off hammer was the reason why I was
like a 21.
No,
What was
this
that?
makes
Yeah, it was
sense.
a-
Yeah,
It was
it
high.
was
Well, also,
high.
pro tip: if you're gonna play a character who takes the the priest's pack because you like the aesthetic, make sure you also have something like carpenter's tools or smith's tools or something to help compensate for it. Although I think this campaign, ironically, even though I was playing a cleric who wasn't fully invested in her faith because she was kind of. I did not plan for Marla to rediscover her faith through the course of this. That's just kind of a thing
I've enjoyed
happened.
that arc.
Because I needed a reason to continue sticking around with you guys after I solved my issue in episode 1 when I found the guy who knew what
So
happened to my
funny.
ex-boyfriend. But this is one of the only times that I've ever legitimately gotten to use pieces out of my priest's pack, where I was like, oh, I've got candles and oil. Can I use that to fix the elevator?
Amazing.
Which I thought was incredibly stupid, but very fun.
Well, and that's something that I have enjoyed very thoroughly about these 7 episodes is that you guys actually look at the stuff that you have in your packs and are like, okay, I know the conventional way to use these. How can I fuck with it?
When has anybody ever used ball bearings for their intended
Right.
purpose?
Oh, God.
Literally never.
Really?
I've seen it once.
oh, we
I
use them
don't-
all the time.
As actual ball bearings
No,
with a
no,
mechanism?
Oh, yeah, no, you use them
Oh.
to trick people.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
caltrops.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of those too. I have pitched that the best use of ball bearings is you need to play a rogue with ball bearings if you're ever playing a campaign where you have to fight vampires. Because if you spread them on the ground and your GM's worth their salt, the vampire will have to stop and count all the ball bearings to pick up all 1,000 of them, and you'll have loads of time. to
Wait,
put them.
what?
Oh,
This is a classic. I really want to run the most Strahd campaign ever, where I'm just going to use only classic literary vampire tropes for the game. And one of the most classic tropes of vampires is that they have they have OCD essentially. So a great way to escape them is if they're chasing you, you take a handful of seeds or breadcrumbs or whatever, and you throw it behind you, and they will stop to count it, but they will keep losing count because it's dark, and they will count until the sun comes up, and then they lose their powers. That's why Count Von Count on Sesame Street is the Count. It's both a pun and a reference to ancient folklore. Boom! Spooky season knowledge drop. You're
The
welcome.
more you learn.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Woo. So, Chris, yes.
That's my name.
Yes.
Christy,
what's up?
You were, this
up?
is your first time in the studio?
First time in the studio.
Yeah.
It's been so
Thoughts?
good having you here.
It's been nice being here.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was too much fun.
I mean,
I gotta say.
I
never
love the
leave.
fact that you guys made the same character and then like
It was
had
so-
to
it was
had
too
to
much fun.
find it.
I think it was naturally, we were coming at the same character from like slightly different points of view, and that just beautifully clashed.
Yeah.
And also like,
Yeah.
yeah, it really does this, where we're like, but also like, fuck you.
Yeah. Exactly. Bestie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, it's the Teenage Mean Girls.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
Pretty much. Well, teenage.
Yeah.
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 Like teenagers.
Potions, you'll get there.
She's 31 now. Yeah. Mom's 31.
Yeah.
It's like, but no, this was so much fun.
This was truly great, and I'm really glad that you were able to come and join us for this.
Yeah, me too. Me too. This truly one of the most fun campaigns I've
Yeah,
ever been in.
I agree. I think it was really, really fun.
And
Well,
it's
I hope
over.
we get to see you around here more
And it's done.
often.
And it's done.
Who knows?
Yeah, props to all of us for staying together. I thought that was so funny too. Well, no, because like literally within the first 2 episodes, where like you came and you're like, "This isn't vacation." You know? and she found Dave.
Yeah.
And I found my murdered thing. You know, and we're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"You want us to stick around?" You know, I feel like luckily Undar was the one kind of gluing everyone. You know, like, "Oh well, maybe we should. You know, we should
Yeah.
help out these people."
Well, I wonder if that's so. I did not choose any of the like
Alignments.
the pre-generated things to get you here.
Yeah.
I had,
Oh, okay.
but mine was also solved almost right away with just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be so vengeful. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
When you put it like that,
Yeah.
maybe you have a point.
It wasn't even quite that right away necessarily. It was just you never got a chance to talk to Elder Renara until you'd had a chance to like be a part of a group that wasn't, your band of hippo renegades that were
Right.
going around killing people and being like, wait, there might be another way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually really fun because you weren't able to talk to Renara until like we had the downtime after the Myconids, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
To be fair, it was delightful, but I was also very impressed that you came out of dealing with the 3 of us and decided not to be vengeance.
That's true. That's
Because
I
I
don't
was
know what
still
happened on the
expecting
boat.
us to push you over the edge.
I'm sorry, and this was such a perfect ending. I thought it was
Yes.
it was so cinematic, and so it's like, because you've never seen a movie where it's like 4 people coming together to do something, and then at the end of the movie they're all walking off in the sunset, and they're like, "Oh, we're still walking."
We're still here.
Oh, my car's this way.
guys.
Yeah, and they're all 4
I
of
guess-
them. It's so funny.
So you're
Yes.
taking the boat to.
Oh, okay.
Because we're
Yeah.
taking the boat.
Yeah, but-
Oh, we should have realized that we would all be on this.
Oh,
Did-
yes,
uh,
Okay, now the
it was so perfect. It was so perfect. But I feel like,
That was pretty great. Like there really wasn't a better way to end this
No,
particular
not at all.
campaign.
Oh man.
All right. Any last thoughts before we wrap up the last After Dark for Dragons of Stormwrack Isle?
I feel like thanks to everyone that's been
Yeah.
watching. I mean, this has been so well received. So thanks to you. Thanks
Yeah.
to you guys. Thanks to the people watching because y'all have been awesome. Thanks for your feedback
Yeah.
too.
Please leave us your thoughts and
Yeah,
comments
please.
in the comments of this video, whether you're watching this as a patron now or you're seeing this in a couple
On the
months when we
YouTubes.
release this. But yeah, we would love to hear either in the Discord or on YouTube and wherever you're watching about your thoughts on this.
And let us know
Definitely.
if you're running it, how your campaign is different or the same, or if you're using things
Hit
that
us
Ren's
up
brought
if you
in.
want all of Ren's secrets for
Yeah.
how she looked at, oh no, we have a GIF from space and a Twilight cleric. I've got to beef up the fights.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
wow.
I'm always happy to talk GMing stuff because I'm still a very new GM, so I'm very open about like this is my process, this is what I'm thinking through. I'd love to hear other takes on it because my default, I think at this point go-to GMing style is very much trust your players and trust that they're not going to try to fuck you over. Trust that they are here to tell a good story with you. In general, except Warren.
You've been named.
Man, Malak has been. He's growing. That
He
little
has.
Dragonborn is growing.
Our little boy's all growing up.
Well, and also, we said it on main, but we'll say it behind the paywall, to thank you for not only running a great campaign, but also for approaching this campaign, especially as playing a starter set, from a space of, no, play whatever weird build you want, and
Yeah.
and that very idea of, like, make me an offer, pitch me a deal, and letting us have that space to be like, here's how I want to flavor this, or here's the, like, wild and crazy thing I want to try to do. Based on my background, based on my player knowledge, based on my character knowledge, will you let me get away with this? And we didn't come away from that unscathed, but it allowed us to have some really great moments, like kicking over the mast of a ship and dropping a hippo on a harpy, which really cut that fight down, which was great.
Boy, did it. No, thank you. And I love that sort of thing. I love... And I think that it comes down to trust between GMs and players, where it's like, I trust you guys to be like, okay, give me an offer. And if I say, no, that's not going to work, you accept it.
Yeah.
Because I've heard you, and then you hear me, and it's this give and take. Like, I'm in this chair. I'm technically running this story, but it's not my story. It's not a story that I need to be precious about. It's like, I'm going to put down walls to guide you in the direction that I want you to go in. But you still can fully put C4 on that wall and blow it the fuck up. And you probably will. And I don't know, I guess my GMing style is, I'm a player too. I want to have fun. I don't want to be fighting my players. That sounds hard. There's more of you than there are of me.
And thanks to all of you. This is
It's a lot of fun.
This has been one of the best tables I've played at, and I've played at a lot of tables. So, this was a delight.
So thank you all so much, and thank you, our wonderful patrons. You have truly, truly helped all of this to happen. We probably could do this without you. We don't want to. So we truly appreciate you, and we'll see what the future holds as far as more stories. It should be an interesting year coming up. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time.